Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another Division 1 matchup in Season 4 of the Reddit League. Today we are in Guatemala. My name is Zatomo and I'm joined as always by Calamity. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We've got a great matchup to two newcomers to Division 1 via two different routes. IceTharu from promotion and Boulgour from the preseason qualifications. So both of them will be looking to put a stamp early on their Division 1 credentials, and a very important match for both of them here in Guatemala as we take a look at these stats, Calamity.
Yeah, definitely an important map for both of them. They've both lost week one relatively badly. Over 3,000 points of score difference negative for Bulgar and over 4,000 for Ice against Orpheus and Raidman respectively, which are both, opponents against who you can lose. It's not a tragedy or anything, but they'll definitely want to pick up points as soon as possible in their new division. And yeah, we'll see who of the two will come out on top here in Guatemala. I usually, whenever we see newcomers, I'd usually favor the more veteran player for any sort of difficult country map at the start, because some of the new players might not be familiar with practicing single countries. But for Bulgar especially, I doubt that is the case, and this is pretty much up in the air, and I think it comes down to who plays better on the day.
Mm. Yeah, Boulgour, a very strong player from the French scene, joining us this season. Well, the map is quite interesting, Calamity. It's by Mapper. Pretty low average score in plays before the competition, but down definitely has been raised since then. It plays kind of opposite, as we have been talking about through all of our castings here, compared to the normal meta of a GeoGuessr map. And yeah, it would be really interesting to see who might come out on top. Yeah, you think just pretty much who has it on the day, right?
Yeah, generally I think so. I mean, it obviously depends a bit on who has practiced how much as well, but I'm expecting both of them to have practiced at least sort of a standard amount. And yeah, we'll see in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? We might even see a draw. It would be a very difficult country to have. Usually our draws are towards the 25 end, but you never know. And we'll just jump right in then to round number one.
Mm.
And a little bit of a city here to start us out. Very nice bus for Ice. As Bogar actually goes into some black coverage, having a problem loading his images. That'll cost him some valuable time. There we go.
Uh, doesn't actually look like it's his internet, because that seems fine now.
Hmm.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, sometimes there's just weird black holes in your movement in Google Maps, and then like you go back and you go through that same road again, it doesn't happen. But just that time the image didn't load.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, usually for me that's either like at the start where you like spawn in and you have to move once to get it to go away.
mm,
But I don't think it's ever happened to me really outside of that, apart from internet issues.
yeah. Well, so far not a whole lot. Has seen a Guatemalan flag. Both of them, well, we're heading in the same direction for a
That
bit.
could be a good sign for
There we go.
ice.
Yeah.
I think it says Quetzaltenango on it. Um,
Yeah, I believe it says something like that,
oh, it
but
also
he had it
said,
covered up by his map half the time.
yeah, it also said Coatepeque, I think it was, in like big bold letters at the top of it.
So he's narrowed down on a town. There we go.
Oh, there it tells him the exact address. Calle 2 de Mayo, Nuevo Progreso in San Marcos.
Yeah.
Doesn't
So
get much
very nice.
better than that.
Even has a street number.
He
So
just had Nuevo Progreso on his map. Hasn't seen
there's
it
San
yet.
Marcos as well, right there. So both of them in town with a minute left, and it's going to come down to that pinpointing.
Both of them in the wrong one.
But equally wrong, at least.
Yep. It's quite interesting that, considering we're like in a very, very small town, and they're both in pretty big cities right now. Oh, now Pogo went over ice into ISIS wrong town.
So both of them getting a little bit confused by some of the signs they're seeing. But at least, yeah, again, 30 seconds left, equally wrong. So, we don't like to see that. But at least in terms of the matchup, they're going to be on equal footing. Unless one of them makes a quick adjustment at the last second.
It can sometimes be difficult to tell how big the city or town in this case really is because you can't really see much past any of those buildings because they're so close together.
That is true. You feel like you're in a pretty dense brawl, and yeah, pretty much exactly equidistant away from that. 12 kilometers for Ice and 11 for Boulgour. 4,133 points for him, 4,064 for Ice, and yeah, just missed out on the fact that that little town was a bit smaller than they thought, Calamity.
Yeah, Boulgour even had the full address there. Ice, I don't think ever saw that.
No.
But Ice also kind of gave up on searching for it after finding Coatepec on that sign.
Yeah, we're pretty confident both of them were about what city they were in, but unfortunately, that wasn't the city. And Guatemala strikes first, I would say, in round one. As we get into round number 2 here.
Guatemala 1, player 0.
Yep. And another city, but this time we've got looks like a border crossing.
Yep.
And the Boulgour goes straight for the middle of the country. Let's see if Ice... No, Ice does think we're on a border. There we go. A little bit. Yes, Guatemala is that direction, but doesn't really help you too much.
The one above it helps you much more. Bienvenidos a Mexicanos.
And Flores. So he will adjust. I don't think he recognized that it was a border crossing right behind him.
Definitely doesn't look like it, no.
Yeah, he turned around quite fast. Knows what's up ahead here to the west, but not really sure that he's that close. And
there
now
we go,
he will
finally.
Adjust. Yeah, border crossings are always nice, very easy to locate, but often tricky to pinpoint, Calamity, because just because the dotted line is somewhere on the map doesn't mean that that's actually where the gate is.
Yep, exactly.
In the street view, so...
In this case, at least, you can tell that it's definitely not where the gate is, because the gate is right there, and you can see the river behind it.
So... down to under a minute and a half. Both of them pretty much in the exact spot. There is that building there, but neither of them are going to really pay much attention to it, and that's going to cost Boulgour at least 2 points there, 4,998 for him. Still a minute to go, but Ice will judge, and he will use that to get an ace. 2 points advantage for him there. So a bit of a comeback, but a pretty easy round for round 2.
Yeah, definitely. Not expecting much to change from a round like that.
As we get set up and get into round number 3. And this looks a little bit more interesting in terms of we could see some points being dropped here.
There's another kilometer sign there, but this time without any road number on it. Not that you could trust one if you see it anyway.
Yep. I think that the only one I would ever trust is the one, the Pan American Highway. That's about it. And yeah, that little one, if you can even read that, it does have PET on it, which is a district, so that will help, even if the number isn't quite accurate.
I think I can't really read it well. I think it might have said something like 18 or something like that. Or 16. Yeah. No, it's 16, I think.
This one says RD16.
Yeah.
The other one had a very confusing number. There's this rural college sign that you love so much.
Yep.
Boulgour will take a look at. There we go. And Ice has got one too.
One. We both didn't spend much time looking at it. But that's definitely some good information for Boulgour.
Yep, doesn't quite recognize it, unfortunately. San Francisco is a pretty noticeable city.
Mm,
And then now, more and more, we see the Peten district showing up on these signs.
yep. I think at this point they both should know the rough area they are in. There's San Francisco for ice as well.
So they head west into town for that. And Ice will start his search. I think his internet's lagging a little bit because he's zooming further than I think he wants to. Not quite sure. I would pick a major road. I don't think we're in the middle of nowhere.
And neither of them seem to recognize San Francisco, which to me just tells me they both haven't really practiced much.
Yeah, well, there we go. Ice is able to find it. Just under a minute to go, and he's got the town. He knows that we are sort of east from there. We headed west into town.
It's now shown up quite a few times for Boulgour as well as a pretty noticeable city on his screen, but he still just ignored it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, with under 30 seconds left, Ice is trying to start his pinpointing, which his computer isn't really having the best of days. It's not giving him any helping hands, but at least he's found the city. We could see it's only a very narrow lead. And
there we go. Finally,
8 seconds. There we go. He's got it.
Yeah.
So that lead could still change. It's not much, only about 70 some odd points. And actually, it will be Boulgour with a last second adjustment to take even a bit of a lead. Again, 4,922 for him. Ice, 4,895. So, yeah, found that town a lot sooner, but just unable to pinpoint that location, and maybe a little bit of a lucky click from Boulgour there, Calamity.
Yeah, both of them took a bit too long, or longer than they should have to find the city. And then at that point, yeah, they both didn't really have the best time for pinpointing. Boulgour did reasonably well with the time he had left. Ice not doing too well there.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens in round number 4. It is still pretty close. 14,053 points for Boulgour. Ice, 13,959. So definitely within 100 points so far.
Yeah, and now they're actually in a bigger city.
There we go.
Can't really go where he wants to.
Yeah, and again, not always sure it's a bigger city, but this road
now,
will definitely
now you can
point
be
out
sure.
the fact. Yeah, now you can be sure. As you see some of this, reading those little signs, trying to find a town name. Now both of them heading, oh, actually, yeah, both of them heading towards the south.
And there's a dead end for Boulgour.
And that means Ice will hit it as well. Really wish he could read that sign down there because that looks nice. Oh, there's a very good sign.
Yeah, there's Villanueva for Boulgour.
There you go. And since Ice turned around, he probably will be coming up on that same sign as well. Let's see if he recognizes it.
There's another massive one saying Villanueva for Boulgour, if he didn't already know.
There we go. He's still struggling to find anything, down to 1.5 minutes. There we go. Big road curb for him as well. Now, where is that town?
That's not it. Ice.
Yeah, I don't know if he recognizes it. A bit unfortunate. There's a couple signs for Boulgour, but he'll just brush right past them. Not interested.
I'm once again Googling biggest cities in Guatemala, and Villanueva is number 3. So not recognizing that is not a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we talk about practice in a lot of our matches, it's not just did you play the map a few times, it's did you research the country? Did you, look up some area codes or province or, district names, and, do you know where the top 5 big cities are? That kind of thing. Because even if you don't play the map, knowing things like that will really put it on. a very similar town name, in this case, really throwing off Ice. Unfortunately, he thinks he's got it. But that zone 5 right there should be a pretty good clue that we're not in that small little town. Perfect full address for him as well. I think he just doesn't realize that the name isn't the same.
I think
Or
he
if he does,
must
he
realize.
doesn't. Now I think he does, but now it's a little bit late. 4 seconds left. Boulgour unable to pinpoint the location, but not even the right town for Ice means that he is safe. 4,809 points to 1,141, and that little very narrow lead just blown wide open, Calamity.
Yeah, and I mean, Ice will probably say so himself. If you make a mistake like that, you don't deserve any points.
Yeah, well, he has a chance in the last one here to try to make up some of those points and maybe get a bonus point, or maybe even a win. Who knows? But with a beautiful sign like that to start, probably not going to happen.
Nope.
18,862 for Boulgour, 15,100 for Ice, and that 3,700 odd point lead is probably going to stay that way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could still choose the right border, the wrong border crossing, but fairly unlikely.
Yeah.
Especially with some, although I don't think there's actually much useful information there.
Yeah, not really, except for...
I mean, Boulgour
the town is on there, but...
Is it?
The Eska...
Yeah, well, it's not the town they're in.
Oh, that's the state. No. Is that the state?
No, it is a city, it's just nowhere near.
Oh, not where they're near. Okay. I thought I recognized the city name, and there we go. Boulgour already looking at border crossings.
Oh, he was. Never mind. He was in the wrong one. He didn't recognize the right one. Okay.
He has adjusted. Ice on the other hand is in the right place as well, I believe, but not going to earn him anything. An ace, 20,000. Do you think that's enough for a bonus point, Calamity?
With this seed, definitely not. No.
Okay. Yeah, there's been a couple pretty obvious locations with very good signs.
I'm not sure how many points you will have to get, but I doubt below 24k will be enough for a bonus point. I mean, the 2 border crossings were 3 points. Technically, the one in Villanueva should have been 3 points as well. At least sort of the city, and then like Boulgour did, for example, like 4,800, something like that. And I don't remember the other 2 rounds. It's been more than 2 minutes.
Yeah, Boulgour's already aced this final round here next to another border crossing. Makes it quite easy for him. 5 meters away, seals his win. Now Ice just looking to make sure that this win costs him as little as possible in terms of maybe score differential.
Yeah.
And a very outside hope of a bonus point as he tries to figure out an ace. And hopefully he won't get confused by the Canadian flags. But a little bit further up from the border than that. We're not exactly that close to it.
Yeah, it can be very difficult to tell. As we've said, like literally 2 or so rounds ago, 3 rounds ago when we had the other border crossing. So Ice there, another small mistake. Not that that one actually mattered anymore. But for border crossings like that, you kind of need to look at other reference points. In this case, you had a junction there to your north that you could use to just get you as close as you can.
Very good. And if I can pause the videos at the right time, is proving difficult. Had it and then it just disappeared again. There we go. 20,094 points for Ice. 23,862 for Boulgour. Yeah, so still not a great game from Boulgour, but definitely enough, fortunately for him, to pull out a win against Ice, who just had one really, really rough round where he didn't recognize the city at all, Calamity.
Yeah, and as this is our last matchup of the week, I can tell you that Boulgour is actually in 6th place with his 23,861, so that was the exact amount of points you would have had to beat for a bonus point. And yeah, Ice just... I don't know if it was, I don't even know what it was. Maybe not practiced quite enough, maybe a bit nervous still for being new in Division 1, not having done too well in week 1 in Japan. Yeah, just not what you want to see with 0 points of the first 2 weeks, but we're going to World Map next week. Everything's going to reset. 2 countries don't matter anymore. And I think Ice knows as well, like he's gonna have to really do his best in the following weeks if he wants to have a chance at somehow staying in Division 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a world map coming up next, and not only that, after that, he's got his home country coming up in Iceland. So definitely in the next 2 weeks, he'll be looking to pick up some points there for sure, and maybe he can put these 2 weeks behind him. But very nice. Congrats on your very first Division 1 Reddit League win for Boulgour, and we will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye.